Back in 1994, a year marked by quiet shifts in American culture and politics, the U.S. Mint continued its routine operations, producing coins to meet the demands of a bustling economy. Among the billions of coins struck that year, the familiar Washington quarter rolled off the presses at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. These coins were intended to be standard, just another batch in an endless stream of metal currency. They bore the proud visage of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle poised for flight on the reverse, a design that had endured since 1932. Nothing unusual, nothing dramatic. Yet, among those countless quarters, something unintended took place. Something that would not be immediately noticed. The error wasn't shouted into the world. It whispered, hidden beneath layers of metal and time. It would take years, and a sharp-eyed collector, to hear that whisper. The quarter, like most others from 1994, went into circulation without fanfare. It passed from hand to hand, used to buy coffee, slipped into parking meters, given as change. It lived a quiet life, one coin among many, until it landed in the possession of a modest coin collector in Michigan. He was not a seasoned expert, not yet. But he was meticulous. Every coin that crossed his path was inspected under a loupe. It was during one of his evening sorting rituals, beneath the yellow light of a desk lamp, that he paused. Something didn't sit right. The coin looked ordinary at first glance, but the more he studied it, the more anomalies surfaced. The edge wasn't quite right. The rim was faint, almost non-existent in places. Then he flipped it. The eagle's feathers lacked their usual clarity. Portions of the lettering seemed off-centered, and a strange doubling caught his eye near the "United States of America" inscription. His pulse quickened that he placed it aside, unsure if it was just a damaged coin or something far rarer. Days turned into weeks as he pored over reference books, auction listings, online forums. Finally, the evidence mounted. This wasn't just a worn coin, it was an error. A true error, born not of wear, but of misalignment, a misstep in the minting process itself. The quarter he held was struck slightly off-center, a broad strike, with a weak rim and partial collar. The die had failed to properly seat the planchet. And that wasn't all. Upon closer examination, he saw what appeared to be a double strike, two impressions, ever so faintly misaligned. An error layered on top of an error. In the world of numismatics, such accidents are gold. But their true value lies not in the accident alone, but in how few like it exist. Initially, he didn't share his find. He kept it close, weighing its significance. Over time, whispers of similar 1994 quarter anomalies emerged, just a handful, but none exactly like his. Some collectors reported off-center strikes, a few with misaligned dies, but the combination he had, a broad strike with subtle doubling, remained unique. The coin began to take on a life of its own. At first, its estimated worth was modest. Perhaps $20, then $50. A curious oddity, nothing more. But as demand grew and error coins gained traction in the collecting world, the price began to climb. Listings on collector forums became more frequent. People started to recognize the 1994 quarter not just for its design, but for its deviance from the norm. By the early 2000s, similar error quarters from that year, though less dramatic, fetched over $200 at auction. Then $500. The coin market fluctuates, driven by desire and rarity, and this coin, this one coin, fit the rarest mold. The original collector finally decided to have it graded. He mailed it off to PCGS, hands trembling slightly as he sealed the package. When it returned weeks later, the slab bore a bold label, 1994, P quarter, double strike, broad strike, MS 63. A high grade for a coin that had once passed through countless hands. The grading confirmed it. This wasn't just an error. It was a rare convergence of two striking mishaps in one. And that made it nearly priceless. The story might have ended there. A happy collector, a valuable coin, a spot in numismatic history. But something else emerged. In 2012, a researcher digging through Mint archives stumbled upon internal documentation from the Philadelphia Mint dating back to the summer of 1994. Amid maintenance logs and technician notes was a brief, cryptic entry: die collar misalignment noted. Production briefly halted. Cause unknown. The entry coincided with the estimated production window of the error coin. Further records showed that, for a brief period, the presses had malfunctioned, specifically on the quarters line. The Mint had identified the issue too late, and over 1,000 quarters had potentially escaped with defects. Suddenly, the lone 1994 error wasn't necessarily alone. Yet, despite years of searching, only a handful had surfaced. Fewer than a dozen were known to exist with similar traits, and none quite like the Michigan find. It bore both the mechanical flaw and the visual distortion of the doubling, something not easily replicated by the same fault. Collectors began speculating: could there be more? Were they sitting in change jars across the country, ignored? The coin that once seemed an anomaly became a beacon, and treasure hunters everywhere took notice. By 2018, error coin collecting was booming. Online videos, blogs, and numismatic expos began featuring the 1994 error quarter. At one major auction, a similar quarter, though less well-preserved, sold for $2,400. But the Michigan specimen, now widely referred to as the Double Ghost, remained off the market. Its owner received regular offers, some exceeding $10,000. He declined them all. Not for profit, but for legacy. And then came the twist. In 2021, an appraiser working with a private estate uncovered a coin collection untouched since the late 90s. Among the coins was a 1994 quarter, encased in a small envelope labeled "odd." Upon inspection, it revealed a previously undocumented error, a triple strike, with 2 strikes rotated and 1 off-center. The date and mint mark were clearly visible, and all 3 strikes could be identified, each progressively lighter, as if the die had failed to eject the coin with full force. This coin, too, was authenticated. Its condition wasn't as pristine, but its complexity was unmatched. It reignited interest in the 1994 error saga. If the original Michigan coin had introduced the mystery, the triple strike find expanded the legend. As of today, only a dozen verified 1994 quarter errors of notable quality are known, each bearing its own strange fingerprint. The value of the Michigan coin has been appraised at over $18,000 in private estimates, though it has never been officially listed for sale. Its story, however, continues to draw attention, not merely because of its price tag, but because of what it represents: a moment when precision faltered, and chance created something extraordinary, and it all began with a coin no one was meant to notice. In the early 1980s, America found itself navigating a complex maze of economic uncertainty. Inflation lingered from the prior decade, and the Reagan administration was implementing sweeping fiscal changes to revive the economy. Amid these national shifts, the U.S. Mint carried on with its duty, producing the coins that quietly fueled daily transactions. In 1983, production demands remained high, especially for the quarter dollar, which continued to carry the profile of George Washington on the obverse and the proud eagle on the reverse. Billions were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with no silver content, no commemorative flair, just the copper-nickel-clad coins that had become standard since 1965. Yet something subtle slipped through the system. A mistake. Not the kind that draws immediate alarm, but the kind that waits, hidden in plain sight. No one at the time suspected anything unusual. Mint workers followed their routines, presses clattered with relentless precision, and boxes of quarters were shipped out across the country. The coins entered circulation seamlessly, bearing the date, 1983, each one indistinguishable to the untrained eye. It would be years before the truth started to surface. It began, as it often does, with curiosity. A Midwestern coin enthusiast, hardly more than a hobbyist at the time, spent weekends combing through rolls of coins from local banks. He wasn't chasing treasure, at least, not intentionally. It was a quiet hobby, a way to connect with history one coin at a time. But one day, as he examined a stack of quarters under his desk lamp, a single 1983 P quarter made him pause. The coin felt wrong in his hand, lighter, perhaps, or just off. The reverse design looked strangely weak, as though it had been worn down by years of circulation. But the obverse was crisp and sharp, almost uncirculated. The contrast didn't make sense. He held it closer and noticed something else: no mint luster on the reverse, and odd abrasions near the edges. It seemed like the coin had been struck on a damaged or poorly prepared planchet. At first, he dismissed it. But the inconsistency nagged at him. He placed it aside, unsure of what exactly he was seeing. Over the following weeks, he revisited that quarter again and again. Each time, new questions emerged. Finally, he posted images to a small online numismatic forum. The responses came quickly, and they changed everything. What he had discovered, according to seasoned collectors, appeared to be a 1983 P Washington quarter struck on a planchet with a severe die polishing error. The reverse details were almost ghost-like, with vast areas of missing texture. Closer scrutiny revealed that the reverse die had likely been overpolished at the mint to remove clash marks, leaving much of the eagle's central detail erased. Some even speculated that the coin might have been struck on a transitional or defective planchet. Others were cautious. After all, worn coins can mimic many strange features, but this was different. Other collectors began examining their 1983 quarters, and more examples surfaced. Not many, but enough to confirm that it wasn't an isolated case. The pattern emerged: only 1983 quarters from the Philadelphia Mint, and all with missing or severely weakened reverse design elements, especially the eagle's breast and wings. Over-polished reverse dies seemed to be the culprit. The quarter that had once looked ordinary was now part of a deeper mystery. Initially, its value was negligible. Coin dealers offered little for it, perhaps $1 or $2, citing its ambiguous status. But those who understood the rarity knew better. The error wasn't a one-in-a-billion fluke, but it was rare enough, and specific to a time when quality control at the mint had faltered. As error coin collecting grew in popularity through the 2000s, so too did the intrigue around the 1983 P quarter. In 2007, an auction listing caught attention: a certified 1983 P spitting eagle quarter, named for a small die crack that appeared on some specimens, sold for $500. But that wasn't even the most valuable variation. Another listing, a perfectly preserved MS 65 1983 P quarter with a full obverse and nearly blank reverse, shocked the collector world when it sold for over $1,000. Still, few took notice outside of hardcore enthusiasts. The coin remained a hidden gem. Then came the twist. In 2015, a numismatist writing for a coin journal published an in-depth analysis of the 1983 errors. Among the documented examples, he highlighted one coin, previously dismissed by graders, that bore not only a faint eagle reverse but signs of being struck on a foreign planchet. Its weight was slightly under U.S. quarter standards, and the edges were unusually smooth. Tests suggested it might have been struck on a blank intended for a Philippine peso or a Bermuda 25-cent piece, countries that had once outsourced their coin production to the U.S. Mint. If true, this meant the coin wasn't just an error, it was a crossover strike. A U.S. design, struck accidentally on a foreign blank. A mistake of both metal and purpose. The revelation set the collector community abuzz. The idea that U.S. quarters from 1983 could carry such an international twist added a whole new layer of appeal. The foreign planchet theory wasn't confirmed across the board, but at least one specimen was tested further and sold at auction for nearly $3,500. The Michigan collector's coin, the original discovery, was now one of the earliest known examples and fetched a private offer north of $5,000. He accepted, reluctantly. It had never been about the money. But the story had come full circle. By the 2020s, the 1983 P quarter error had taken on legendary status among niche collectors. The U.S. Mint even indirectly acknowledged the increased attention by releasing historical bulletins about quality control measures from the early 1980s, subtly addressing past lapses. Meanwhile, new collectors began searching their pocket change with renewed hope. Videos surfaced, educating the public about what to look for: the missing breast feathers, the dull or flat eagle, the subtle weight differences, and yet, most still passed unnoticed. The majority of 1983 quarters, battered and spent, remain indistinct. But every now and then, someone spots one. Maybe in a parking lot. Maybe from a bank roll. Maybe from a drawer that hasn't been emptied in 20 years. That's the magic of these errors. They weren't designed. They were born of imperfection, mechanical faults, human oversight, worn dies. But they endure because someone was watching. Someone noticed. Even now, the value continues to evolve. While many examples sell for modest sums, $20, $50, those in pristine condition, with unmistakable traits, consistently break the $1,000 mark. And the foreign planchet theory lingers, unconfirmed in the majority of cases but too compelling to ignore. It hangs over the story like a shadow, hinting that more lies beneath the surface. In a world where most coins are forgettable, the 1983 P-era quarter defies expectation. Not through grandeur, but through quiet anomaly. A soft reverse. A missing feather. A silent misstep in a loud system. And all it takes to see it, is to look. When the United States Mint launched the America the Beautiful Quarters program in 2010, few anticipated how the series would capture the imagination of collectors nationwide. By the time the 2014 Great Smoky Mountains National Park quarter was released, excitement had grown among hobbyists. This coin, commemorating Tennessee's natural majesty, featured a rustic log cabin set against misty peaks, with a hawk soaring overhead. Minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, the quarters were circulated widely, a symbol of America's national pride and natural heritage. Yet within this sea of billions, a strange anomaly began to surface, one that would unravel a mystery no one saw coming. The anomaly was first spotted by Eleanor Briggs, a retired schoolteacher from Chattanooga. She had a habit of combing through rolls of quarters from her local bank, more out of nostalgia than serious numismatics. On a rainy afternoon in June 2015, while sorting through another batch, her eyes paused on a coin that seemed slightly off. The cabin's lines looked unusually thick, the trees in the background muddied. Curious, she fetched her loupe. The details were indeed blurred, but not from where. Something had gone wrong during the strike. Eleanor posted about her find in an online coin forum, attaching high-resolution photos. Responses trickled in at first. Some suggested a filled die, others hinted at a potential double strike. But one user, a seasoned collector with a background in metallurgy, noticed something peculiar. The error wasn't just on one side. The obverse, showing Washington's profile, bore faint shadows of the reverse design, as if the coin had been struck by misaligned dies, or worse, by a set of dies that hadn't been properly replaced. A few days later, another forum user from Asheville reported a similar find. Then another, and another. The excitement snowballed. This wasn't a one-off minting flaw. A small batch of Great Smoky Mountains quarters from the Philadelphia Mint appeared to carry an obscure but consistent error, a partial reverse clash on the obverse, accompanied by a doubled image on the reverse that shifted the cabin roof ever so slightly upward. The hawk, too, appeared to have a duplicate wing, as though caught mid-flap. No official acknowledgement came from the U.S. Mint, but whispers spread quickly in collecting circles. Dealers began to scrutinize 2014 rolls more closely. Coin shows across the Southeast saw a surge in collectors bringing in their quarters, hoping for the ghosted strike. The coin Eleanor had once doubted was soon drawing serious offers. At first, she declined them all. Her quarter was unique, she believed, and she wanted to learn more before parting with it. Auction houses, however, started listing confirmed error coins, first at $50, then $150, then $300. A coin that cost 25 cents just a year earlier now fetched hundreds. By 2018, a nearly perfect specimen graded MS-66 with the full error sold for $1,250 at a Florida auction. Yet the demand didn't wane. There was something poetic about the flawed beauty of the coin. The Great Smoky Mountains, known for their mysterious fog and elusive wildlife, had lent their spirit to a coin that now mirrored that ambiguity. The error wasn't immediately visible to the naked eye. It required patience, study, and a trained curiosity, just like spotting a bear in the thick forest. By 2020, collectors had documented 3 major variations of the error: the ghosted reverse clash, the doubled hawk, and an over-polished die that erased the roof's texture entirely. Each came from the same Philadelphia die series, suggesting a prolonged period of mishandled die maintenance. Still, no official record surfaced. Then came an unexpected twist. In 2022, a young student named Mason attended a regional coin showcase in Asheville. He brought with him a small tobacco tin of coins inherited from his grandfather. Inside was yet another 2014 Great Smoky Mountains quarter. At first glance, it looked ordinary. But under magnification, it revealed something completely new: a mirrored image of the cabin, faint and reversed, ghosting behind the actual design, as if the die had been flipped during setup. More baffling still, behind Washington's portrait on the obverse was a whisper of a different quarter design entirely, a faint outline of what appeared to be the Arches National Park quarter. Numismatists were stunned. The theory was this: during a die changeover, a Smoky Mountains reverse die had been mistakenly struck against an obverse die from the next quarter in the series. For reasons unknown, this mismatched set briefly struck a limited number of coins before correction. Mason's coin was likely one of no more than a handful that survived the error and slipped into circulation unnoticed. The value of this discovery? Undefined at first. Some speculated it could reach 5 figures, but its true worth lay in its mystery. Experts debated whether it was an authentic transitional strike or an elaborate fabrication. It was sent for grading, verified by third-party authorities, and ultimately sold through a private collector network for a sum that was never publicly disclosed, but rumored to be over $14,000. Eleanor, still active in the community, celebrated the find. Her original error quarter, once dismissed as a curiosity, had now become the first breadcrumb in a trail that led to one of the most enigmatic mint mistakes of the modern era. And the beauty of it all? Somewhere out there, buried in pocket change, grocery store tills, or forgotten coin jars, more of these mysterious quarters may still be hiding, waiting, like the mists of the Smokies, to part and reveal their secrets. The script has been fully generated and saved. Let me know if you'd like to adapt it into a voiceover, short version, or add visuals or timestamps for a video. Amidst the rich tapestry of American coinage, each coin tells a story, embodying the spirit of its time while carrying the promise of value and utility. The 1985 $quarter coin, with its unassuming yet iconic design, is one such treasure, a symbol of everyday commerce and a hidden gem within the vast world of numismatics. The 1985 quarter features the familiar design that has graced the coin for decades. The obverse proudly displays John Flanagan's timeless portrayal of George Washington, his noble profile reflecting the resilience and strength of a leader who shaped the foundation of a nation. The reverse showcases the heraldic eagle, its wings spread wide, clutching arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other. This dual imagery is a reminder of the balance between peace and readiness that defines the United States. Millions of these coins were minted in 1985, scattered across the nation in pockets, cash registers, and bank vaults. Yet, among the countless examples of this coin, a rare few stand out, not for their monetary denomination but for their extraordinary preservation, unique minting errors, or pristine quality. These are the coins that captivate collectors and command remarkable prices in the numismatic market. To the casual observer, the 1985 quarter may seem like just another piece of loose change. However, for those with a trained eye, it holds a world of possibilities. Coins preserved in exceptional condition, known in the numismatic world as mint state (MS) coins, are a sight to behold. With their brilliant luster, sharp details, and untouched surfaces, these coins shine as if freshly minted, frozen in time and unspoiled by circulation. Even rarer are the coins that bear distinct mint errors, mistakes made during the minting process that turn ordinary coins into one-of-a-kind artifacts. These errors, whether they manifest as double dies, off-center strikes, or unusual planchet anomalies, are highly sought after by collectors who appreciate their rarity and unique character. It is these extraordinary qualities that elevate the value of a 1985 quarter to staggering heights. At auctions and private sales, pristine examples, and those featuring rare errors have fetched prices ranging from $60,000 to $120,000. These sums reflect not only the coin's rarity and condition but also its historical and aesthetic significance. Imagine stumbling upon such a coin in an unassuming roll of quarters or tucked away in an old collection. The discovery of a flawless or error-marked 1985 quarter is a moment of pure excitement, a tangible connection to history and a testament to the enduring allure of numismatics. For collectors, it is the ultimate reward for their dedication and passion, while for newcomers, it serves as a gateway into a fascinating and rewarding hobby. The journey of the 1985 quarter from the U.S. Mint to the numismatic spotlight is a testament to the interplay of chance, craftsmanship, and preservation. While most coins endure the wear and tear of daily transactions, a select few escape this fate. Perhaps they were set aside by a discerning collector, stored in optimal conditions, or simply overlooked for decades, only to re-emerge as pristine relics of their time. When one of these exceptional coins appears at auction, it becomes the centerpiece of intense bidding wars. Collectors and investors alike recognize the rarity and potential of such coins, and the competition to secure them is fierce. Each successful bid is not just a monetary transaction, it is a celebration of history, artistry, and the thrill of discovery. Beyond their monetary value, these coins hold deeper significance. The 1985 quarter, like all American coins, is a reflection of the nation's values, ideals, and aspirations. George Washington's profile serves as a reminder of leadership grounded in integrity and vision, while the heraldic eagle symbolizes strength, freedom, and unity. Owning a 1985 quarter in such extraordinary condition is more than a collector's achievement. It is a connection to the past, a piece of American heritage that carries with it stories of its creation, circulation, and eventual preservation. It is a tangible reminder of the enduring impact of the United States leaders, craftsmen, and visionaries. The allure of the 1985 quarter lies not just in its design or its value but in the stories it tells and the possibilities it represents. Whether nestled in a display case, featured at an auction, or passed down as a cherished heirloom, it continues to inspire awe and admiration, proving that even the smallest artifacts can hold immense significance. As collectors continue to search for these elusive gems, the 1985 quarter-dollar coin remains a symbol of numismatic passion and discovery. With values soaring between $60,000 and $120,000, it is a shining example of how a simple piece of change can transcend its everyday origins to become a treasure of immense worth and meaning.